Went 19-0. Right now this team stands at 18-1. As we remind you that tonight's game brought to you in part by CarQuest Auto Parts. For the CarQuest store nearest you, call 1-800-492-PART. Mark Ewing is working alongside us again tonight. And Mark, you've got the story of a couple of guys who've crossed the border to play for their respective teams.
That's right. Thank you, Dave. Let's call this matchup tonight the matchup of the hottest team in the Big 8 Conference. That would be Kansas against the league's biggest surprise. That would be Iowa State. In fact, the Cyclones are the most anonymous team in the Big 8 Conference. In fact, can you name 5 Cyclones? We can name a few, but we can especially name one. His name is J.C. Holloway, who played his high school basketball in the heart of Kansas in Mound Ridge, who in fact led his high school team to 4 consecutive high school championships. He is 6 foot tall. He's 160 pounds. And though he was not recruited by Kansas or Kansas State, but he certainly has been a perfect fit at Iowa State. Now, from the Kansas export to Iowa to the Iowa export to Kansas, that would be Rafe LaFrance, who is 6'11", has just played his best basketball to this point. In fact, is the native son of Iowa and is a guy who never considered going to Iowa State, though he is known by Iowans. And we are convinced that, in fact, Rafe knows every citizen in the state of Iowa. We know this because after every game, there's a contingent of Iowans who wait for him. Now, Iowa State has not won a Big 8 championship or a league championship in their 50 years. Kansas won a few of them. This is Iowa State's last chance. Dave?
Thanks a lot, Mark. Here's today's Hardee's starting lineups. Let's start with the visitors from Iowa State. We've already talked about Holloway and Willoughby. They're the 2 guards down at the bottom of your page. Sean Bankhead and Kenny Pratt are the forwards. Kelvin Cato in the middle. They're all junior college transfers. As far as the Jayhawks are concerned, it's the same lineup that Roy Williams has gone with since day one. Pearson, LaFrance, Pollard, Vaughn, and Haas. So we're set to go in this one. It should be a great one. You talked about Rafe LaFrance, Mark, and interesting, when he announced that he was going to the University of Kansas, that was broadcast over the entire state on radio. Let's take a look at the Dodge keys to the game.
Well, Iowa State's going to try and limit the amount of possessions, so Kansas got to create points off their defense. Iowa State, we got a little flip-flop there. Kansas should be on top and Iowa State should be on the bottom, but Kansas wants to create points off their D and also not foul. Iowa State likes to get to the line. Iowa State's going to try and control the tempo. Plus, Kelvin Cato, I think, is going to be a big factor for Iowa State in this game tonight.
Jayhawks with the ball, dressed in their home white. The Cyclones get the turnover. They're dressed in their road red. Holloway whips it around to Willoughby.
Iowa State's going to be real patient offensively. They don't shoot that many shots quick, but when they do get a shot, it's going to be a good one.
John Bankhead gets that one to go, and the Cyclones lead it 2-zip.
One of the things you can expect from Iowa State is tough defense. You see Kelvin Cato inside fronting Scott Pollard in the post. Pratt trying to do the same thing with Rafe LaFrance. They know what kind of scorers these big men can be, and they're trying to limit where they get the ball.
LaFrance with a turnaround, and we're tied.
Well, that's what Tim Floyd is afraid of, is Rafe LaFrance's ability to score once he gets the ball down low. So they're definitely going to try and make him lob the ball over the top.
As you mentioned, Iowa State, Chris, they would like the tempo of the game in the 60s or 70s. I think Kansas is going to try to force the tempo, aren't they?
Well, Kansas wants to get something going off the defensive end, get the turnover or the long rebound. You see Kelvin Cato, that's where he is so strong, 4 or 5 feet from the basket. You definitely want to make him go over you, though, and score.
Interesting. Cato did not play high school basketball. His family moved too much. He did play some AAU ball down in Atlanta, but boy, what a find Cato's turned out to be. Pierce flashing baseline, has it tipped away, picks it up in the corner. Now Pollard trying to reverse. There's Cato with a block. Cato, the 3rd leading shot blocker in the Big 8 Conference.
Well, it's 6'11". He's got a lot of wingspan inside, and Scott Pollard found out how much there was.
Haas got his hand on it. Pollard gets it back to Jared Haas. Pierce looking inside to LaFrance, but tipped away beautifully by Willoughby.
Super hustle by Dedrick Willoughby, coming from the offside, saw that Kansas was looking inside. There's no secret there. Kansas in a fast break likes to pound it inside, and Willoughby with the smart move took a chance.
Tim Floyd was asked earlier this week, Chris, if he's surprised that his team is at 5-1 in the Big 8 and 16-4 overall. He said surprised That's not the word. I wouldn't have dreamed of this kind of record early on, but our kids are playing real hard right now.
Well, they've taken what he's told them to do. They do the simple things. They don't make a lot of turnovers. The kid with the ball in his hands right now, J.C. Holloway, hardly ever turns it over. It's a miracle if he does. He's just a real solid fundamental kid. But also they play defense, and that's what Tim Floyd's trademark is.
Sure is. Willoughby. Cyclones, if they can, will try to get to the line as much as possible. Good move. Holloway. Oh, and a great feed, but a block from behind by Haas. Somehow, Vaughn able to keep his wits about him, and a foul on Cato. He picks up his first.
Excellent interior passing by Kansas that time. Scott Pollard, he's only got 2 assists on the year, but this time he tries and gets his 3rd assist. Watch Jock Vaughn get the ball inside. Instead of trying to take it up, Pollard sees that the defense is coming and gets it off to Rafe LaFrance. You know, Kansas used to do so much of that a few years ago where they got the interior passing going, something you haven't seen as much from them lately, and that's mainly because defenses don't go out and pressure them as much as they used to.
Interesting. LaFrance, you see his numbers on the year, coming off a career-high 24 against Kansas State. LaFrance gets both of those to go down to tie the score and 4.
Full court pressure here by Kansas. Really not designed to get the turnover. If Kansas gets the turnover off that press, that's just gravy. Actually, that's more or less to give the team a different look, try and get the tempo of the game up a little bit.
Pratt gets it off to Cato, and a thunder jam. Wow, Kelvin Cato with 4.
I tell you what, you give Kelvin Cato the ball in that kind of position, he's definitely going to finish. Iowa State, great offensive pattern that time.
Jock Vaughn, a 3-pointer. Roy Williams says he's become our best 3-point shooter. That's the first lead for Kansas now, isn't it? 7-6 the score.
Jock Vaughn was in a mini slump, 1 for 6 from 3-point land over his last 6. Let's watch the Iowa State offense here. Iowa State spreads the floor out. They really kind of go to a 4 corners offense. Now watch Kenny Pratt just take Paul Pierce, a little crossover dribble, what Pierce is best at, but he takes him right to the hole. Scott Pollard does his job coming up and stopping it, but Rafe LaFrance is not there to help Scott Pollard.
Pratt on that last dish to Cato, and the foul called on Jock Vaughn, his first. Cato, a transfer for South Alabama. He wasn't a starter there, and Willoughby wasn't a big-time player at New Orleans. Came off the bench for Coach Floyd at New Orleans, and both of these guys are big impact players with these Cyclones.
Well, I'd like to see those teams now that these guys didn't start for, because Cato and Willoughby are great Big 8 players. Cato, he's just going to get better as time goes on. I mentioned that he didn't have a lot of experience in a structured format, playing in the AAU leagues, which a lot of times is more offense than anything else, but he's got good skills for a big man.
Good alley-oop from Haas to Pollard. You mentioned it before, Chris, how Kansas likes to throw it up over the top of a zone.
Well, they set a lot of picks inside, which allows that lob to open up. A lot of times you get back picked, you're looking for your man, and he's sitting there waiting for the lob. Kansas really does a lot of interior picks against the zone offense.
Well, look at the spacing right now for Iowa State, how they spread the floor.
You know, this is one of the most frustrating things as a player on defense. Early in the game, 15 minutes left to go in the first half. Iowa State's spreading the floor out and making you run after them.
Why is that frustrating?
Well, you got to chase them. You got to chase them for 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden they get a shot against you. One thing you don't want to do is play defense. Everybody likes to score.
LaFrance tries his second 3. He's hit them both this year.
Well, he was out shooting around before the game started, shooting a 3-point shot. I'll tell you what, he hit at least 3 out of 4 of them.
And listen to this place. LaFrance, is he still hot? No. And a foul. Boy, LaFrance is fired up. playing against Iowa State. The Cyclones wanted him. The Iowa Hawkeyes wanted him. Instead, he chose to go to play for the Kansas Jayhawks. LaFrance says, I've already got February 17th circled on my calendar. That's when the Jayhawks will go to Ames. 14:25 to go first half. Kansas leads it by 4. Clone 6-2 right now.
Watch this defense and then the fast break by Kansas. Rafe LaFrance in there jumping up down. Actually, that's Scott Pollard with the block. It looks like Rafe LaFrance gets the loose ball. Now watch this break. They've got the two wings right and left. Jared Hass, Pierce on the far side. Jock Vaughn pushing it down the floor. One big man gets inside. The other big man trails. What happens? Iowa State's worried about the inside game of Pollard. That leaves LaFrance open for the 3.
I like that look, don't you? From the end zone like that. It's like watching a kickoff return from the end zone. You can see how the play develops.
Well, the look on Rafe LaFrance's face the last few games, he's really buckled down and decided that he's going to be intense about every possession.
Williams trying to get it to LaFrance. He can't. Hass, though, does get it to Williams. Boy, that's good interior passing.
Great passing by Kansas. Iowa State doing a nice job of stopping the drive initially, but they're not getting that second and third man rotation to cut off that interior pass.
Williams pokes it away from Bankhead. Sean gets it back.
Iowa State really struggling right now to get into their offense.
Willoughby. Oh, big shot. Dedrick Willoughby hits a three-pointer. His first bucket of the game.
Boy, tough shot by Willoughby on the outside. He gets about 7 threes a game attempt-wise, but you know, one of the things about him as a scorer, he's real selective about his shots. He usually takes a pretty good shot. Let's take another look at this great inside pass by Hass to B.J. Williams. Now watch, Hass is going to drive the baseline, and Iowa State's going to come over and stop him. But look, nobody comes over and helps out on the baseline, opens up B.J. Williams. One of the things that you're always taught defensively is get as low as the ball.
Scooped home. Who are they going to credit that one to? They're going to give it to Pierce. Could have been either B.J. Williams or Paul Pierce. Tipped away, but kept by Pratt. Now J.C. Holloway tries a 3. Long rebound to LaFrance. Williams from the free throw line. Good rebound by Willoughby. Well, you can see already the attitude of Iowa State. They come down the floor and they pause. They want to get that shot clock down to around 10 before they really go into their offense. Now Bankhead, he's fouled. That one on Pierce, his first. Dedrick Willoughby averaging 20 points a contest for the Cyclones, the third leading scorer in the Big 8.
Well, he just gets Jared Hass on his heels right there, gives him enough room. He takes the shot in rhythm. That's a good shot. He was ready to take that shot, ready to go with it. You see Kansas a little mixed up defensively. Bankhead realizes that Iowa State does a nice job of seeing that Bankhead's open, and he takes it to the basket. Getting to the free throw line, that's been the bread and butter for Iowa State.
Well, in the last 5 games, all wins for the Cyclones. Iowa State has made 107 free throws. Their opponents have attempted 60.
That's amazing. Talks a little bit about the defense that Iowa State is playing, also about their offense. You know, that going back earlier to the frustration of playing against a slow down offense, you've got to play good defense for 25-30 seconds. It makes you tired, and a lot of times it makes you impatient.
Coach Williams was quoted in the papers here saying the thing that really concerns me is how often they go to the line. But you know, when you look at the statistics as Joe Moderman checks in, both teams go to the line about the same number of times per contest.
Right. It's just the disparity between Iowa State and their opponents.
3-point ball game, 12.5 to go first half.
Iowa State going to go to a little junk defense here, a box and one. J.C. Holloway's going to play man-to-man. Actually, it's a triangle and 2.
Oh, you're going to have to explain that one.
Well, it doesn't even matter. They score.
Williams gets it, his second bucket.
Kansas switching up now on Willoughby. Got Jock Vaughn guarding him.
From the wing, wide open shot, Clay Edwards.
Great pass by J.C. Holloway. Nice job of penetrating, drawing the defense to him.
Sean Pearson didn't score against Kansas State, and boy, that was a wild air ball. Well, we've got a timeout with 11:49 now till halftime. Sean Pearson still struggling from the outside. Kansas leading Tim Floyd's Cyclones by 3. By 3 at the 11:49 mark. Time now for our Kansas Lottery Jayhawk trivia question. Who was Iowa State's first basketball All-American selected in 1957? Well, he's in the building here tonight. We'll give you the answer in the second half. Congratulations to Georgia Bork of Wichita. Recently won $50,000 playing Cash Lotto. Kansas Cash Lotto, where you'll always get 2 plays for $1. You see Kansas State leading Colorado, and it's Missouri trying to shake off the doldrums, leading Nebraska. Iowa State will face the Cornhuskers on Saturday in Ames. Thrown away by Pearson, so he's come in, thrown an air ball and a bad pass. Not the way he wanted to start his night.
Well, he's really struggling right now. He's pushing himself a little bit too much. He only played 4 minutes in the game against K-State, 0 for 2 in that game. You know, Sean just wants to do so well, and a lot of times you start pushing yourself that much and kind of get yourself out of your rhythm.
Confidence is something in sports, isn't it? What a nice move by Kenny Pratt.
Great move by Kenny Pratt. Got Pearson on his hip and just swung him to the basket.
Pearson throws that one into traffic. I think he's coming out of the game. A bad pass to B.J. Williams. He throws that one into traffic. Kansas lucky to get it back. Tim Floyd not happy about that. And Sean Pearson with the air ball, and now a seat next to Coach Williams.
Let's watch Kenny Pratt offensively here. That's probably what set Sean down more than anything, was giving up this nice move. Great spin move. Got him on his hip, took him to the basket, and no weak side help from Kansas.
Pollard again. Coach Floyd really concerned about the inside size of the Jayhawks, the Twin Towers, if you will, LaFrentz and Pollard. Pratt throws up a wild shot. Thomas for 3. He has been hot from the outside. Good rebound, Clay Edwards, a redshirt freshman. We'll try to identify these Cyclone players because, as Mark pointed out, this is one of the most anonymous teams, maybe not only in the Big 8, but in all the country. For a team that's 16-4 and probably heading to the NCAAs, there's little known about these Cyclones.
Iowa State coming back defensively. You got to know that Billy Thomas is a three-point shooter. You see Iowa State was kind of sagging off him. If there's anybody you're going to sag off of, it's not going to be Billy Thomas. This guy can hit the threes, and you see Coach Williams talking to him, probably talking to him about giving that shot just a little bit more time.
Good inbounds play to Sean Bankhead. And all of a sudden, the Cyclones, who were down 6, trailing by 1 right now. Pollard will try a long one. No. Willoughby's got the rebound.
Now Kansas is a team of streaks. Right now they're in the downturn of those streaks. Iowa State again spreading the floor.
Halfway through the first half, 2019 KU.
Here's a matchup for you. J.C. Holloway and Paul Pierce. Now they get switched back.
Holloway coming off the pick and thrown away. Bankhead can't hang on. Vaughn, a two-pointer, they say, had his foot on the line. Vaughn 2 for 2 from the field.
Boy, tough shot. Good thing that he hit that. Otherwise, I think you'd have seen a quick timeout by Kansas, because that would have been about 5 straight possessions in a row where it was one touch and shot.
A lot was made of the matchup with Elliott Hatcher on Sunday. Kansas State. Hatcher had 30 points in that contest. Jock Vaughn said, I don't mind. Our team won.
That's right. When it all comes down to it, it's the team that comes away with the victory. But that was a heck of a matchup. I think it was more was said of it than it actually was. Elliott Hatcher does one thing for K-State, he does it well, and Jock Vaughn does another for Kansas and does it well. Well, I think I could be a pretty good politician. What do you think?
Why not?
Hey, tiptoe.
You and I are heading up to Ames on Saturday. Maybe we'll get involved in that Iowa caucus.
That's right. Iowa State having some trouble now. They get the ball in a position where they can score, but Losing the handle.
They will stay with KU. Jacques Vaughn, though, I tell you one thing he's added to his game this year. He has really developed an outside shot.
And he's been real selective about it. Watch Rafe LaFrance setting a pick up top. A little bit of movement there to gain the contact, but that's all that Jacques Vaughn needed.
LaFrance has it ripped away by Pratt. And again, stay with the Jayhawks with 22 on the shot clock.
Well, one of the things that you can do if you're giving up 7 inches like Kenny Pratt is trying to guard Rafe LaFrance is be a little quicker than him, and Kenny Pratt just trying to beat him to the spot, getting the hands into play and knocking the ball out of bounds.
Pass, trying to get his shooting touch, still can't find it. Good passing inside, but Bankhead loses the handle. It just slipped out.
I think Sean needs to get to the bench and get a little stick him on that. That's 3 times he's mishandled that ball.
Vaughn spinning, dishing to LaFrance. LaFrance was 7. The lead back to 5. Shot clock at 14. Pratt, tough shot. Pollard rebound, out of bounds to Kansas. Boy, Pollard with 7 rebounds already for Roy Williams. Tim Floyd said we might be the worst rebounding team in the country. Another timeout with 7:34 to go. Kansas 24-19.
What Jacques Vaughn does for Kansas. Now watch him here in this situation. Fast break. He sees an opening. He's going to drive the baseline. He's not looking to score here. He's looking to create something. And create he does. He gets it to Rafe LaFrance. He drew the defense down to him, and Rafe LaFrance with a dunk. Let's watch it again from the baseline this time. Rafe LaFrance, or Jacques Vaughn's going to take the baseline. J.C. Holloway does a great job of stopping him, but Kenny Pratt doesn't stop Jacques Vaughn all the way, and Sean Bankhead doesn't come over to help out and cut down the pass. And that'll give you up 2 points. And Iowa State's been having that problem quite a bit in this game, not getting a second and third rotation defensively.
Chris, 5 points, 3 assists already for Jacques Vaughn. When do you think he sees that pass in his mind? When does that actually occur?
Well, a great player like him, I think he's thinking about creating it, but he doesn't see it until the second before he releases that ball. It's just instinct. Oh, get that off the glass.
Cato blocked it. Let's see if they'll allow it.
Let's take another look at it. Again, Jared Haas getting inside, getting the pass off. Cato going to smash it against the glass, but it's a good call.
Now that is legal. You can smash it against the glass. No problem in college basketball to do that if it's on its way up. If it's coming down, you can't do it. Just imagine the glass isn't even there, basically, just a regular goaltending call. LaFrance now 3 of 3 from the line. Rafe LaFrance with 8 points in the contest to go along with 4 rebounds. Make it 11 now. I missed a bucket in there somewhere. So LaFrance with 11 points. 7:05 to go. Kansas with their biggest lead at 7 right now. Remind you that Dodge, the exclusive auto dealer of the Jayhawk Television Network.
Kansas switches it up defensively, goes to their 1-3-1. Got to be aware of Dedrick Willoughby.
And Moderman, he's a good outside shooter. Joe Moderman.
You know, it's tough to play against a team like Iowa State and play that kind of a defense, especially with Moderman in the game and Willoughby. These are 2 guys that can hit the 3-point shot.
Pollard loses it, and there's LaFrance again. Oh, man.
Boy, what can you do? What can Tim Floyd do? I mean, Rafe LaFrance just taking up a huge amount of space.
Well, the folks up in Iowa were really upset when LaFrance decided to matriculate to KU. Don't you know they're really upset right now?
Boy, isn't that true? I was in Iowa a while ago, and every time somebody would find out I was from Kansas, they wanted to know how Rafe LaFrance was doing. Never forget about it.
Flying in and charging in. Taking the charge. J.C. Holloway. as Pierce picks up his second foul. Holloway still trying to shake off the effects of that one.
J.C. Holloway took a hard charge. You see Pierce coming down the right side, and Holloway there the whole way really took the brunt of it in his elbow and cheek. Chin adjustment.
160-pound J.C. Holloway took it on the chin from a 220-pounder. Oh, Colorado now leading Kansas State by 1 in the first half. Over in Manhattan, Missouri continues to lead Nebraska by 8.
Colorado's a team that really feels like they're turning the corner, getting a little different attitude on that team.
New coach. And you're right, the new attitude. But they really got clobbered by Oklahoma State the last Saturday.
Well, you know, that's going to happen. They can't change that thing in 3 or 4 games.
No. Rayford, how do you keep that one alive?
Boy, he is quick.
Whoa. The French trying to get it down low to T.J. Pugh, and I think he was expecting Ray French to shoot the ball.
Has a nice look. A lot of great looks by Kansas inside. More than I've seen the whole year long. Really looking to pass that ball off. And I think you're right. I think T.J. Pugh really wasn't ready for that. He was trying to get position for the rebound.
5:20 to go, first half. 28-24 Kansas.
Spread offense again by Iowa State. Kansas backing off a little bit more than they used to in the past. In the past, they'd really pressure this and get beat backdoor quite a bit by Iowa State. Oh,
Cato, no!
Boy, how did that not go in?
I have no idea.
I think he dunked it so hard he knocked it back out.
I think you're right. I think it was halfway down the net, wasn't it? Pierce. He's fouled. Well, let's see what happened here. How did Tim Floyd look it up saying, what in the world happened on that Cato jam?
Keep an eye on his chin. I think he might have got it caught on the rim. He was so high. Watch Cato go way up for this. This goes right over him. Oh. But T.J. Pugh's happy he didn't dunk it on him.
Cato getting a breather.
He might have hurt himself, too. A lot of times when you miss a dunk, you try and dunk it that hard, you jam yourself up.
Yeah, boy, it happened to me a lot.
I was going to say, I got a lot of experience in that.
How do you know?
I was just told by people.
Manning would tell you?
Well, actually, it's kind of true. I never could dunk in that, so I know what it's like not to dunk. Hurting yourself.
Out of bounds. It will stay with the Jayhawks with a fresh 35. Boy, what a job Floyd has done. Right now, he's got to be the odds-on favorite for Big 8 Coach of the Year. Maybe National Coach of the Year the way they're going.
Great performances by his players, and a nice job of him of getting this team to get molded together. Really, it had a tough time finding a starting lineup that they liked. This starting lineup that they started here tonight. Only the 7th time they played together as a starting unit. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot when you switching players around, but a lot of times psychologically you kind of develop as a unit that way.
Well, you're right. And Kansas has been able to be in the comfort zone. They've had the same starters all year long.
Right. You all get used to your roles, either coming off the bench or starting the game. There's a difference. It's not huge. Some players it affects more than others.
Looks like a foul. Just the 5th team foul on Iowa State. That one called on Moderman, who picks up his first. Moderman from Allendale, Michigan, one of the juniors on this Iowa State squad. And amazing, no sophomores, no seniors, all freshmen and juniors for Iowa State. It's really an oddity. Pierce tries a 3. Pierce hits the 3. And the lead back to 7.
When you have Paul Pierce doing the things offensively that he's been doing the last games, Kansas really steps up their level.
But again, look at Iowa State trying to control the tempo, Chris. Even though they're down 7, they're not forcing the action. Pratt, count the basket, and he's fouled by Williams.
Boy, he's strong inside. 6'4", he's going up against the big guys. A guy that really uses his size, a lot like Abercrombie down at Oklahoma. You look at him pushing off a little bit. He uses his size and his legs to gain some distance and then just gets the shot to go.
Well, Kenny Pratt, they call him KP, and this kid really cleans up, doesn't he?
Cleans up on the boards also.
And hit the free throw. Rebound to Thomas.
I knew you were going to do that. I was just waiting. I had to start making bets for myself.
It took you a while to catch it, though.
No, I caught it. I was going to say something.
Yeah.
I had to start making little time marks when I think you're going to say it.
The alley-oop. Pierce tracks it down, but steps on the baseline. So with 3:21 till halftime, we pause. Jacques Vaughn and the Jayhawks leading it 31-26. Exciting new program from Sprint. When you use Sprint for your long-distance service, you receive Sprint Sense rates for as little as a dime per minute. Then 3% of your monthly long-distance charges will be contributed to Kansas Athletics. Switch to Sprint by calling 1-800-726-1634. For existing Sprint customers, you call 1-800-877-4040. Enjoy the savings of Sprint and help KU Athletics at the same time. Kansas leading it by 5, a little less than 3.5 till halftime. You can travel with the Jayhawks during men's basketball postseason play. Register at any Payless Cashway stores across the state of Kansas, the Kansas City metro area now throughout the regular season for a chance to follow the KU team as far as they advance in postseason play. Payless Cashways, we work to make your job easier.
Well, something you're going to see in the stats tomorrow is Paul Pierce getting a three-point shot, but you're not going to see TJ Pugh getting an award for setting a pick. But it always takes somebody getting somebody else open, and that's what Kansas does so well.
A high rebound. Whoops. And off the hands of Thomas and out of bounds.
Boy, loose ball's a real heartbreaker right now for Kansas. A lot of balls going off the fingertips, going out of bounds. Iowa State able to hang in this game.
Pratt backing in, blocked by Williams.
Boy, P.J. Williams has played tremendous basketball the last few games. Great defensive efforts by him every night.
Clay Edwards, who missed last year, redshirt year, when he injured his back after the very first game of the season. So he's technically still a freshman. Oh, wow! Kenny Pratt scoops it home.
Showing a little strength on that shot,
I should say. Pierce going around Moderman, sailing along the baseline. Oh, is he athletic?
He takes the ball to the hole about as hard as I've seen anybody. He finishes so strong.
Playing with 2 fouls, too. He had to be careful there, but no call on the baseline.
I don't think he knows careful.
Oh, okay. Holloway in the land of the Giants thought better of it. Every time Iowa State shoots the ball, there's less than 10 on that shot clock, like there's 7 there. And Willoughby will track this one down
and reset it. Maybe not.
Willoughby flashing down the paint, and he's fouled. That one's going to go on Jacques Vaughn. Vaughn better be careful too. He argued that call afterward, and you better be careful you don't pick up a technical.
A little tight on those technical calls this year. No talking to the officials is the rule, but
remind you that tonight's Kansas game, a copyrighted telecast of Creative Sports Incorporated. Any use, rebroadcast, other transmission of any or all of this game without the express prior written consent of Creative Sports is prohibited. Not a shooting violation. Instead, Iowa State will pull the trigger underneath their own hoop, trailing by 5. Bankhead coaxes that one home. Sean Bankhead a nice first half with 8 points. Pass wide open for 3.
there it is. Missed his last 6 3-pointers. Finally gets that one to go. You know, he had a couple against K-State that I think rolled all the way down the basket and still came out.
Cato, nice little hook shot on the baseline.
He likes to go over his left shoulder, turn into his right. Now we got a little net hang up here. I wonder if the officials are going to see it. I don't think anybody sees it.
Pollard, neck to net, go down.
You don't need the net. You never had one when you were a kid playing. Who needs one now?
That's right. One little strand of nylon usually hanging from that rim.
The chain ones are always the worst.
Shot by Willoughby. Robertson. Well, all of a sudden a real spurt here at the end of the half.
And Roy Williams is trying to get a 20-second timeout there. He'll take that 2 instead.
Cyclones will go for the last shot. Pratt. Oh, and Cato comes flying in. A dozen points for number 13. And that's it. First half comes to a wild and frantic close. The Jayhawks, after all that, head to the locker room leading by 4. The Cyclones very much alive, ranked 21st in the country. Thanks a lot to Kelvin Cato at a dozen points in that first half. Boy, this guy came flying in from everywhere.
He comes out of nowhere. The sound effect on this, he just jams that through. I think about broke the net.
Didn't miss that one, did he? 40-36 halftime. Mark Ewing coming up with a halftime.
Is making a game of it. Kansas leads Iowa State 40-36. Well, it is halftime. I'm Mark Ewing, and it is time to interview the guy who has the top post at Kansas. Now, I know you're all thinking that's Roy Williams, but it really is the chancellor of the university. And I bring that up, Dr. Hemingway, because simply, if anybody knows about how important basketball is to Kansas, it's you because of your background being Kentucky and all.
Well, I came here from Kentucky, so I've had a chance to see 2 great coaches. I've also had a chance to see 2 great teams. I think the Jayhawks are going to take it all the way this year.
At the core of the moment are 230 student athletes being honored by the University of Kansas for academic achievement. How has this school been able to bridge the academic and athletic gap?
Well, I think we've had great leadership from the coaches and from Dr. Bob Frederick of the athletic department. We've got a fantastic tutoring and academic support system. We really care about how these students go to class and study, and they really respond to the challenge. The fact that this many students are out there receiving academic honors, I think, says something about our program.
We wanted to bring you down here at halftime so we can make sure that you're warmed up for Sunday because it is your inauguration. How do you feel about it? You a little bit excited for it?
Well, I'm excited. I'm also very honored. People have been very kind to my wife and I since we've been here. This is a chance to make a little bit of KU history, and I'm just very proud to be a part of it.
And certainly after that, you're going to visit some Kansas communities, so we got a real short time left. But talk about, you're visiting Salina, in fact, on the 26th of February. Talk about meeting the people of Kansas.
Well, I really believe that's important for the chancellor to be out all around the state of Kansas. We're a statewide university with a statewide mission, and it's very important to make sure that we're in every part of the state.
Well, Dr. Hemingway, we appreciate your time. Good luck on Sunday. It should be great.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Mark.
And nice visiting with you. Halftime, Kansas takes a 4-point lead. The Jayhawks own an 11-game win streak. They're trying to beat Iowa State for the third. Kansas leads Iowa State 40-36 at halftime. The Jayhawks have won 11 consecutive games overall. Its longest win streak since winning 12 in a row back in the 93-94 season. But Iowa State has provided plenty of excitement. As we go to the highlights, the big hero for Kansas has been Rafe LaFrentz. As we mentioned on the outset of the program, LaFrentz is playing his best basketball since coming to Kansas, and here's how he's getting it done. With confidence inside, their turnaround shot, and the left-hander goes, and the Jayhawks have extended their lead to 7. And then later, a team that is used to going inside would go outside. Here's Rafe squaring up, and no, he's not going to shoot a three-pointer, but he does. Rafe hits the three-pointer, his second of the year, and the Jayhawks continue their lead. But Iowa State has never given up. The 5 guys you've never heard of, and here's one of them. It's Cato, and watch on the rebound off the jam. Kelvin Cato, that's how the first half ended, and that's the score at this point. Kansas leads Iowa State by 4, 40-36. The Jayhawks are coming off a perfect 10-0 month of January. Last time when the Jayhawks went undefeated was 1971. Today's game is brought to you by the Kansas Lottery. Somebody's always winning from the Kansas Lottery. By By Farm Bureau Insurance, where belonging makes a difference. By Sprint, the only long-distance company that puts you in touch with the Jayhawks. By Pizza Hut, home of the all-new triple-decker pizza. You'll love the stuff we're made of. By Delta Dental, the leader in dental benefits. By Harrah's North Kansas City Casino, a great time every time. And by Hardee's, fresh from the kitchen at Hardee's. And your nearby friendly Dodge dealer.
Point halftime lead, 40-36. With Chris Piper, I'm Dave Armstrong. Great first half. That was really fun to watch. Iowa State came out and did what we expected them to do. They played good defense.
They did. They tried to slow down the tempo, but the tempo really in Kansas's favor. 40-36 at half. Kansas would like the game in the 80s, and that's where it's looking like it's going so far.
Let's see if we can figure things out by the numbers as we look at the stats from that first half.
Well, you look at the field goal percentage. Both teams shooting pretty well, 48 and 52%. Both teams also getting some shots at the three-point line. Iowa State would like to have a few more of those, but Kansas shooting a good percentage. Rebounds, Kansas killing them 21-11.
Well, as far as the second half is concerned, Kansas has been able to turn it on over the last several games in the second half of play. And I'm sure that's something that Tim Floyd is talking about right now.
Well, definitely. Kansas has been a second half team. They like to jump out early the first 5 minutes. Old cliche, but that's really important for Kansas.
All right, we'll see what happens in that first 5 minutes, and we'll be back to watch it when we come back to Allen Fieldhouse. Jayhawks leading it at the break, 40-36. In service, you received Sprint Sense rates for as little as a dime per minute. Then 3% of your monthly long-distance charges will be contributed to Kansas Athletics. Switch to Sprint by calling 1-800-726-1634. Or existing Sprint customers should call 1-800-877-4040. Enjoy the savings of Sprint and help KU Athletics at the same time. It's Kansas leading by 4 at the half. Tim Floyd in his second year guiding the Cyclones. What an outstanding job this young coach has done coming over from New Orleans. His 10th year of coaching. Both he and Coach Williams over 200 total wins. But look at the first 54 games. Now, Johnny Orr, the cupboard was really bare at Iowa State when he took over. Tim Floyd was handed players like Lauren Meyer and Fred Hoiberg, and he had a lot to work with last year, but that's still an impressive 1.5-year record.
Very impressive for him, and you're exactly right. I think the program is in a lot better shape when Johnny Orr left than when he came there, but Tim Floyd has done a wonderful job with this team. You know, he came in with a little different philosophy than Johnny Orr. Johnny Orr didn't like you to score points, but Tim Floyd really doesn't like you to score points, and he picks up that defense a little bit more than Iowa State used to in the past. I'll tell you, though, anytime you go into Ames, go into that Coliseum and wait for the Johnny Orr entrance. I'll miss that.
Yeah. The Tonight Show theme.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Carson retired. I guess it was time for Johnny Orr to do the same. You saw the leading scorers. Cato and LaFrance had big first halves for their respective ball clubs.
Fortunately for us, I think that was the only high point of those games up there. After that, it was all downhill.
So you went 0 for 4, didn't you?
0 for 5, actually. Count my redshirt year.
Wow.
I didn't have anything to do with that, of course.
You didn't have much to do with the other 4.
No, you're right. I didn't have anything to do with those.
Pollard fouled on his way to the hoop.
Boy, Roy Williams is so smart. Pollard with a kind of a subpar first half, for 3 for 9 from the field. Kansas comes right out, tries to get the ball into Scott Pollard and get him going.
Also, what he's probably trying to do is get Kelvin Cato in foul trouble because he did a lot of damage on the offensive end.
Yeah, they'd like to see him sitting on the bench a little bit more than he has. Cato 5 for 7 in the first half, 12 points. And I really felt like Cato could be a big factor for Iowa State. It's really a no-brainer because he's really the only big man that Iowa State has.
We're surprised by both those scores flashing through. Not that Missouri is winning, but by 17. That's amazing. Looks like the Tigers growling again. You know, the Tigers haven't lost at home this year. That's amazing.
I don't care how many times Missouri loses. I still think that's one of the teams that is going to be most potent come Big 8 tournament time.
Just have to get the right combinations. They still have struggled chemistry-wise.
Well, they've got a lot of talent. And they've got Norm Stewart sitting there, so.
He's won a few ball games, hasn't he?
A couple here and there.
Cato, no. Pollard has the rebound. Boy, the big edge to the Jayhawks on the glass.
You know, as big an edge as Kansas has on the glass, Iowa State's still in the game.
Very much in the game.
I don't think Tim Floyd is too worried about being 5 down at this point, but 2 straight buckets by Scott Pollard something to worry about.
Boy, Pollard really sealed Cato off, didn't he?
Tremendous seal, and one of the things that he does so well is go into whichever hand he has to throw that little baby hook.
Sometimes when you watch the game, instead of just watching where the ball is, watch the interior play. When the ball is reversed, watch what the inside guys do to seal their man. It's all by design.
That's right. Any good big man knows that when the ball is reversed is the time for him to go to work. Get his man set up, get in position.
LaFrance, he continues to be hot.
A nice idea by Tim Floyd in Iowa State to try and double down on Pollard, but you can't give LaFrance a free throw. They're going to talk about it with a 20-second timeout.
Well, we talked about the first 5 minutes. How about the first 2 minutes and 2 seconds?
Great adjustments by Kansas at halftime have really keyed those runs. But let's take a look at Scott Pollard. Now look, they're swinging the ball. The ball's moving from one side to the other. Scott Pollard's going to come over, draw contact with Cato, and hold him off. Give an angle for Jared Haas, and Haas goes to the offhand, off to the left. Nice look at it. Let's take another look again. Ball's going to swing to the side. Now they've got two guys guarding Pollard, but you can't give up a 15-footer, not to Rafe LaFrance. Maybe you can give it up to Scott Pollard, but you're not going to give it up that often.
So a 5-0 start to the second half for the third-ranked team in the country. Kansas has been ranked 92 straight weeks now, and 30 straight in the top 10. That's the incredible mark.
Well, one of the things about Kansas is their ability to make runs. If you can limit the runs, you can stay pretty close to them, and that's what Iowa State did in the first half. Now they've got to get a bucket here.
Bankhead does get the bucket. Sean Bankhead.
Boy, tremendous effort by Bankhead in the last few games. 10 points here tonight already. And it's really stepped up and made some big plays for Iowa State.
If Kansas hits those shots, they're almost unstoppable. Biggest lead now for KU.
Well, when you got your front line scoring inside and outside, it's a huge, huge boost.
Pearson double figures with 10.
I'll tell you one other thing. Kansas fans can stop worrying about Jared Haas and his shooting. The guy gives you so much defensively. Don't even worry about that. If he makes some points, that's gravy. But that guy gives everything else, and he's the reason that this team is so good defensively.
Similar to Ryan Miner, the way he struggled offensively at Oklahoma, but still doing other things to help his team.
Well, great teams pick each other up, and Kansas hasn't missed a beat with Jared Haas off the mark.
Zone now by Iowa State. Pierce again, wide open for three. That one's off target, though. Bankhead rips it down. Here comes J.C. Holloway. Willoughby being guarded by the aforementioned Haas.
You see, Iowa State pushes the ball. They look to get an easy bucket, but if nothing's there, they're going to pull it back out and try and get another better shot.
Good touch by Willoughby. Held it just 5 points in the first half. Blocked away by Cato. Here comes Willoughby. Good pass inside to Bankhead. And again, Kansas just allowing one shot.
Makes it a little rough when it's one shot and out. A lot of times you get good field goal percentage from second chance buckets, but Scott Pollard, he's getting active inside.
I should say. Pollard in double figures.
Well, who's the entry pass from? Jared Haas on the wing. Cato going over the top, trying to deny that pass, gets stuck up too high, and Scott Pollard again creating space, and you see the reaction afterwards.
By the way, Haas, you talked about other things he does. He's got 6 assists tonight.
You know, one of the things right now, Sean Pearson is struggling. He's struggling offensively. Jared Haas is struggling offensively, but Jared Haas continues to do the other things. He does the rebounds, the defense, the assists. Those things keep you in the game.
Well, Pollard now with 12 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. Foul, is that on Jacques Vaughn? If it is, it's his third. And Coach Williams got to look down at his bench and say, all right, we need some help right now. Jacques Vaughn picks up number 3.
Well, you can't let him off the hook. Kansas had him in a nice trap defense in a great position over in the corner. Let him go at that point. Don't let him go as far as getting out of it, but don't reach. Make him make a play. Kansas goes to the point zone.
Pratt, he got Pollard up in the air, and Scott Pollard whistled for his first foul. Just 10 total fouls called in that first half. 5 for each team.
How tough is Kenny Pratt inside? We talked about Kansas being a second half team. Kenny Pratt, he's a second half player. Really gets his momentum going in the second half. A lot of times a guy with size like he has can wear down the opposing team and really pick it up in the second half.
He has averaged 17 points over his last 9 games. He's missed both of his free throws here tonight, though. Coming off a game in which he had 23 points against Nebraska, including 5 steals. KP can't hit either one. Vaughn pulls up. Good rebound by Pratt. Willoughby spots up for 3. Oh, that was pure. You could see it as soon as it left his hand.
I tell you what, we had a nice angle on that. It kind of had that Jeff Hornacek spin on it, too, the sideways spin. Getting it back at Iowa State. That makes the ball go in, I think. That's what Jeff always said.
A lot of folks in Iowa, Chris, they think that maybe he's the new mayor. And he said, oh, don't make me the mayor, please. He said, I'm not even a councilman.
He's smart. He's smart. He doesn't want to start comparing himself to Fred Hoiberg.
Pratt again. Count the basket, and he's fouled by LaFrance.
A little discussion right now about the basket.
They are going to count it.
Let's take a look here. Sean Pearson really not liking guarding Kenny Pratt, but just a careless splat by Rafe LaFrance rather than moving his feet and getting in position. He was going up with the ball. I tell you, I have a hard time ever disagreeing with Ed Hightower. Great official. I don't say that very often.
You're not coaching.
That's true.
I don't think there's an official alive that the coaches don't disagree with from time to time. But he is one of the best, though.
You know, one of the things about Ed Hightower that makes him so great is he'll talk to you. He'll talk to the players. He'll talk to the coaches. If something's getting out of hand, instead of just calling a foul, a lot of times he'll talk to you, warn you. That really is appreciated by both players and coaches. There's a lot of things that go on that don't need to be called.
That was tipped, not a double dribble. That was tipped away from Willoughby.
Look at Jared Hask guarding Willoughby.
He's worked hard for his points and then blocked by Williams.
He's making him get the ball in a position where he really can't do much with it.
Here comes Pearson. Knifing his way through traffic, and Pearson draws the foul. That foul on Clay Edwards, his first.
Let's watch Sean Pearson taking it, trying to make something happen. He really gets caught in a bad position because both him and TJ Pugh on the same side are not able to work the ball back and forth, but he just puts his head down and takes it all the way to the basket.
Pearson just 42% from the line. He hasn't been there that often this year, but that one, I'll tell you, this is a kid that has absolutely no confidence in shooting right now. It's almost like Tom Watson putting.
That's only his 13th free throw, and this is his 14th, so trying to find a little rhythm there.
Well, Roy Williams Club's found some rhythm here, leading it by 7, but the Cyclones just keep hanging around. It by 7, and we take a look at our Pizza Hut delivery of the game.
Well, Jared Hask going to drop the ball inside to Pollard. Now, Willoughby pulling off him a little bit. He's playing up on him pretty good, which gives Hask the ability to swing around. But look at the seal off by Pollard inside. Kansas front line, 37 of the 52 points scored here in the first half, and there's 2 of them by Scott Pollard.
So the Jayhawks getting the ball inside. That delivery brought to you by Pizza Hut.
You know, the pass into the post is so critical because a lot of teams will pass you the ball if you got a guy stuck on your back, or they give you the ball to the wrong hand. A lot of times a big man can't score off of that. The pass to the post is so important. If you can hit a guy whichever way he's moving, whichever way the defense is playing off of him, a lot of times he'll create that 2 points.
another spread offense.
Kansas was their 1-3-1 zone, going to try and pick up Dedrick Willoughby wherever he goes. Really the only three-point threat on the floor right now for Iowa State. J.C. Holloway can shoot the three. He hasn't shot much of it this year, although he shot more lately.
Oh, no contact there. Kansas might have gotten away with one. And Williams falling out of bounds.
Might have got away with one or three. There's three guys right there.
Just 5 turnovers for Iowa State tonight. So they're doing a good job of hanging onto the ball. And a lot of that starts with J.C. Holloway, the little kid from Mound Ridge.
And one of the things that you talk about is if you don't turn the ball over, you got a chance to stay in the game. And staying in the game is where Iowa State is right now, down by 7.
Talking to Gary Thompson, longtime Cyclone follower, longtime Big 8 follower. And Gary was telling me that Holloway may be the unsung hero on this Cyclone team.
Well, he's so steady. He doesn't make mistakes.
Well, there's Willoughby. 13 now for Dedrick Willoughby.
Great patience by Iowa State. Great patience by Dedrick Willoughby to get set and take it.
DJ Pugh seals his man. Another assist for Jared Haas.
Inside by Kansas, outside by Iowa State.
Almost stripped away by Vaughn. Willoughby, that's a guarded three.
Well, I jinxed him. I talked about patience, and then he came down and was impatient.
Williams again trying to get it inside to TJ Pugh, just threw it away. Boy, Willoughby, though, has come to life. 2 3-pointers this half.
Well, with only 5 points in the first half, Kansas really keyed on him and kept him down here. But you can see Jared Haas backs off him just enough for Dedrick Willoughby to feel like he's got an open look at the basket.
Willoughby hitting 31% of his threes this year, has now hit 50 on the season. On Moderman. That's his second foul. Give you an update. Other scores around the Big 8 Conference. Those of you following the Wildcats' fortunes, well, they were disappointed with their 10-point loss to Kansas. More disappointed now, losing at home to Colorado, and Missouri continues to pound Nebraska in Columbia.
Colorado really felt like they had a chance to be in that game. They felt like they were catching Kansas State at the right time, even though they had just gotten beat by Kansas. Well, that Colorado team, there's a lot of talent. If they can just put it all together and play hard for 40 minutes, they're a tough team to reckon with.
Let me tell you something. They've got a trifecta of players as Vaughn hits another three, including Chauncey Billups, Mac Tuck, and Martise Moore, that are as good as anybody in this conference.
They definitely are. They can play, and that Chauncey Billups, boy, freshman, another 3 years of him will be wonderful for Colorado.
Bankhead, no. Williams with the rebound. Here comes Vaughn. Kansas trying to run again. Tipped and kept alive by Pugh. Thomas for three. Thomas. So the Jayhawks coming to life. Their biggest lead now, it's a dozen. 11:03 to go in this one. And we'll be back with more after these messages from your local station. Here's an exciting new program from Sprint. When you use Sprint for your long-distance service, you receive Sprint Sense rates for as little as a dime per minute. Then 3% of your monthly long-distance charges will be contributed to Kansas Athletics. Switch to Sprint by calling 1-800-726-1634. Or existing Sprint customers should call 1-800-877-4040. Enjoy the savings of Sprint and help KU Athletics at the same time. Kansas has widened the gap to a dozen, mostly because of three-point shooting for Jacques Vaughn and most lately Billy Thomas.
Well, Jacques Vaughn's so smart. He knows that he just hit a three. Watch him. He's going to make the defense come to him. Act like he's going to take the shot. He's going to get the ball here from Billy Thomas. He's looking at it. That just draws him off enough to get it to the man who is money from the three-point line, Billy Thomas.
Kansas on an 8-0 run over the last 2 minutes. Jacques Vaughn, 4 assists for Vaughn so far tonight. And then three-point shooting. Boy, the Jayhawks red hot. If they're 7 for 12, that's right now what everybody thinks is the Achilles heel maybe of the Jayhawks. As you go zone against them, they might have a cold shooting night like they did against Temple in their lone blemish on the year. But when they're 7 of 12 from out there, this club is awfully tough. I don't know what this discussion is about right now. They're bringing Kenny Pratt over to Tim Floyd. Now, since we have time here, let's check out the answer to today's Kansas Lottery Jayhawk trivia question. The question, Iowa State's first basketball All-American? Well, of course, that was Gary Thompson. He outscored Will Chamberlain in head-to-head battles when he was at Iowa State. Somebody's always winning with a Kansas Lottery, just like Charles Curling of Hayesville. There's Gary Thompson. Working for the Cyclone Television Network. Great man, I tell you. I've worked with him a lot. I really enjoy him. One of the class acts in this conference. Look at the run for Kansas. Thomas might make it 11. Oh, he does.
I tell you what, I think I like watching Billy Thomas's reaction running down the floor better than anything else.
Moderman now. It looks like Iowa State growing a little impatient. Vaughn, Thomas, 3. That time Willoughby got a hand in his face.
But you got to forgive him for that one. He just took a shot he shouldn't have, but he was in the rhythm.
Oh yeah.
Iowa State needs to get back to their game.
You know who's strangely been silent in the second half for Iowa State? Kelvin Cato. He hadn't scored after getting 12 in the first half. Dangerous pass from Vaughn. Tipped out of bounds. It will stay with KU. There's Cato. What happened to him at halftime?
I'd say those big bodies banging on you, and you got 2 of them for Kansas, 6'11" and 6'10".
Again, maybe Kansas, the factor of wearing a team down, perhaps.
There's no doubt they run a lot of players at you. Really, against K-State, it was kind of a strange thing for Kansas. They only had 7 guys that played over 10 minutes.
Kansas hoping to win their 26th straight here, and they're well on their way now. Pollard with 14.
The problem with Cato right now is he can't stay on the floor if he can't guard somebody, and Kansas is really exploiting him inside.
A block by LaFrance. Pass. Again, the interior passing. Cato knocks Pollard down to the count.
Iowa State really sucking some air right now. Kansas running and gunning.
Cato with his 3rd foul. Pollard will go back to the line. Clay Edwards checking back in for ISU. He comes in along with Sean Bankhead.
Kelvin Cato taking a quick seat to the bench.
Doesn't look too happy about it either.
I don't think they're too happy about the fact that Kansas is really pounding it in inside.
They've exploded here. Pollard's even hitting free throws tonight. He's blocked some shots. He's hit some free throws. He's hit some other shots. Look at that. 10-1 in blocks. You couple that with a 25-17 rebound edge, and Kansas is dominated. Right now they're dominating the scoreboard, leading it by 19. Pratt, good move.
The old running jump stop got him enough room that he could get that shot up. Pratt really the only big guy for Iowa State that's been able to do anything here in the second half.
Pierce. Well, he glides to the basket, doesn't he?
A tough shot, though.
Willoughby. 2 straight baskets by the Cyclones. Willoughby now with 15. 10 this half. LaFrance. Oh, that's the first 3 he's missed. He's 2 for 3 now on the year. Oh, good no-look pass. Blocked by Pollard, but a foul on Pollard. He picks up his second. Gives us a chance to remind you that Dodge, the exclusive auto dealer of the Jayhawk Television Network. Big night for Scott Pollard here. Pollard with 16 points, 10 rebounds. Pollard with the career high 22 last year at Missouri. He's got a chance to set a new mark here tonight.
Well, he's kind of coming off a subpar game for him against Kansas State. He had pretty good numbers in it, but he really got a little lengthy stay on the bench in the second half when he committed an offensive foul. It was really kind of a flagrant foul inside. He was posting up, and he's been having some problem being, I think, aggressive in trying to post up, and coach finally got fed up with it and made him sit there and think about it. But the tough thing is you want him to be aggressive, but at the same time he's got to be smart about that aggressiveness. He's got a lot of strength to throw around.
He's throwing it around.
He's having his way inside, isn't he?
Oh, big time. Bankhead. LaFrance was in his face, and he banked it home.
Boy, Sean Bankhead is just living off that Iowa State penetration. If he kind of gets out there in the perimeter, oh, the little man.
Rayford got lost in there. Willoughby, 3. Still 7:22-21. You see the clock ticking down. Kansas leading it by 13 right now. This is one of the better efforts for KU this year, isn't it? Offensively and defensively, these guys are playing well tonight. Haas goes for 3. That one halfway down and back out.
Kansas is really starting to put it together here in the last 4 or 5 games. It's a team that's 18-1. It's kind of hard to find anything wrong with them. Although the Kansas fans still tend to find something wrong.
Incredible. I heard Roy's talk show the other day, and someone called in and said, well, you've had a pretty good year. And I'm thinking, pretty good.
I guess 19-0. What's that?
Man.
I mean, 18-1.
That guy sets a high standard. Boy, I'd hate to be married to someone like that, huh? You got no chance.
They expect a lot here at Kansas.
Yes. He doesn't like to get mail either, does he?
No.
Not negative mail, anyway. Willoughby, first time for him at the line. He's a great free throw shooter, Willoughby. He is 7th in the conference in that department. This guy's got to be the newcomer of the year right now.
Definitely. He is a scorer.
Yeah, he is.
And he also plays a lot of minutes, too.
And getting his points now. 17, make it 20 for Willoughby. But it's Kansas who leads on the scoreboard. 71-60 with Pollard dealing inside. 11 from 19. Let's take a look at our sprint long distance player of the game.
Well, who else would it be but Billy Thomas? You watch Jock Vaughn get the ball down. Now watch Billy Thomas, how he squares up to the basket. He's got good balance. He's going to get that back leg in there. You know, he never really rushes his shot. He's got a good high release, which allows him to be patient with the ball. And he's got a great follow through, puts a lot of backspin on it.
Size 16 shoes too. Tough for him to get those size 16s in bounds over there in the corner.
Really, he's got to step back 2 or 3 steps from that three-point line. But he always knows where it's at. He doesn't like to venture inside of it very often.
Pierce somehow got it back. Paul Pierce scoring inside.
It never ceases to amaze me that a kid just a few months out of high school can come in and play as strong as Paul Pierce does.
Foul down low away from the action as Kenny Pratt was knocked to the ground by Billy Thomas. Thomas picks up his second foul. And that's the 7th team foul on KU, so that will put Pratt at the line. That's not necessarily good news for the Cyclones. Pratt 0 for 4 from the line so far in this game. Pratt on the year, though, 64%.
There he goes. I knew if you talk about him enough, he'd finally make one. He did the reverse jinx on him.
Just trying to help out. Always like to see guys play at their best.
That's right. Both teams well below the free throw attempts average that they usually take.
Full court pressure now by the Cyclones.
Pretty much broken after the ball gets in that man's hands. J.C. Holloway's had a long game guarding Jock Vaughn. See Iowa State doing a nice job of pushing Kansas out of the position that they want offensively.
The French can't hit it. Williams keeps it alive. Now he loses the handle as he gets it down there for Bankhead to take it away. Holloway almost turned it over. That one pinned up against the glass. That should be a goaltending. That one hit the glass and then was tipped. No call. KU got away with one there. B.J. Williams blocked one after it hit the glass.
Let's watch the action here. Kenny Pratt looked like he might have traveled there. He finally gets the ball off, and B.J. Williams over the top. Rafe LaFrance again. Tim Floyd is not a happy man.
No.
Boy, Williams wondering what's going on also.
Tony Rampton thought he had the bucket. So did Coach Floyd. LaFrance on the inbounds.
Well, that's a 4-point swing right there where Iowa State really could not afford it.
Pratt just scoops it up there. Thomas did a good job not to step on Pierce coming down.
That's a little dangerous.
Good thing they were teammates. An opponent wouldn't have been so careful. Pierce, he now has 14. Since that last time out, Kansas put on another surge.
Well, I can't remember a game where Kansas has played so well inside offensively.
Yeah.
Their front court is doing a tremendous job.
Oh, what hands by both B.J. Williams and Jacques Vaughn.
Well, what B.J. Williams gives up in size as far as weight, he makes up for in hand quickness.
Holloway tipped it away for the moment. And Vaughn found Williams. He's held by Pratt. Kenny Pratt picks up his 3rd foul. Williams will have to earn it at the line.
Well, how many players are going to take this shot instead of passing it? You know what Jacques Vaughn's going to do. He's going to make the defense think that he's going to shoot it. He's going to try and get the ball inside where it's a much easier shot. That's the difference. That's why you can't compare a guy like Elliot Hatcher and a guy like Jacques Vaughn. 2 different players.
You're right.
Elliot Hatcher's a scorer. Jacques Vaughn is a guy that makes things happen.
Vaughn with 8 assists in this game. Leading assist man in the conference.
Speaking of Elliot Hatcher.
Williams ties the season high with 6 tonight. Jayhawks, a lot of people think they can't shoot free throws. Well, how about tonight? Coach Williams won't get any mail after this effort from the line, 11 of 13.
Oh, no. They missed 2, you know. Got to correct that.
Iowa State in need of a bucket. Willoughby trying to do it. And there he is, Dedrick Willoughby. Dead aim from the corner. 23 for Willoughby.
Got to be aware of where the shooters are at when you play in the zone defense, and you got to know where Willoughby's at.
Pierce got to get rid of it now, and he does to Pollard.
Well, he's playing like a man tonight, isn't he? Super box out to get
a season high 20 for Pollard. Timeout, Iowa State. We've got a timeout with 3:29 to go. Scott Pollard having a career night, and we're back with more after these messages from your local station. 2-6-1634. For existing Sprint customers, you call 1-800-877-4040. Enjoy the savings of Sprint and help KU Athletics at the same time. 81-65 Kansas as we take a look at our Farm Bureau Insurance play of the game.
Well, great teams recognize weaknesses. Kansas in this situation, inbounds play. Cato is out of the game, which opens up the Iowa State middle. Roy Williams sitting there yelling, get the ball to LaFrentz. And that's where he's at. LaFrentz over J.C. Holloway in size, 6'11" against 5'10".
Well, let's see. Front court for Kansas. Pierce has 14. LaFrentz has 17. Pollard has 20. And 22 rebounds amongst that trio. And add a steal to the total.
Add a steal. Average night? I don't think so. Kansas has really come out to play. Iowa State's done a great job also, but Kansas big men have just been overpowering. I think it'll be a little different when they're at Hilton Coliseum. Got those Iowa State people cheering them on, keep them that extra juice in the second half.
We want you to relive the excitement of the '95 Kansas football season with a season highlight video brought to you by Target. From the destruction of the Buffs in Boulder to the domination of the Sooners in Norman. Highlights from every game, including the dismantling of the UCLA Bruins and the Jeep Eagle Aloha Bowl. Video now available any Target or Super Target store in Kansas. Call 1-800-728-2078. First free throw for Haas. Today was signing day, wasn't it? All the football guys.
Yes, it was. Kansas got some size.
I love it when signing day comes. Every coach in America claims they had a great year. We've got everybody we were wanting, and they're all great players.
That's right. Always the best.
I like it. Notre Dame is usually #1 when it comes to the recruiting thing, and you think, well, if they have the #1 recruiting class every year, why aren't they just automatically #1? Cato has it blocked by Pollard. Cato tracks it down, almost walked with it. Holloway for 3, in and out. Pollard, his 11th rebound.
The second half has been a totally different game. Nothing's changed, though, about rebounds.
Pass, caught it, he's fouled.
Well, Jared Haas just taking it to the ball. Look at a little back pick by Pierce. Opens him up, gives him a chance to get to the goal. Let's take another look at it. So many baskets by Kansas are created by somebody else. They don't get many baskets on their own. You see Jared Haas there getting a little help by Paul Pierce to get to the basket.
I was just thinking, though, if there were an all-Madden team in basketball, Jared Haas would be on it.
He'd be right on it. The guy has no fear. It's one of those things when he's on offense coming down the floor, you almost got to evaluate whether or not you want to try and stop him because he doesn't care. right now. This isn't the type of game that they're used to playing, trying to get a shot quick.
Another steal. 3-on-1. Holloway picked it away, though. Willoughby tried to pass inside. Pratt. And Pollard with the foul. There have been 14 blocks by the Jayhawks tonight. They just thought they picked up their 15th. The 14 blocks by KU tonight is a new team record.
Well, Scott Pollard, he can't seem to come up with, look at that, 14 blocks tonight. He can't come up with a good defensive play, it looks like, a lot of times, but I think Kansas actually got away with a hold before that. Kenny Pratt was trying to run to the basket, and all of a sudden his shirt tail was hanging behind him a couple feet.
And right there with the arms up in the air with both Coach Williams and Scott Pollard, they look like they were auditioning for an underarm commercial.
Holding them up. Oh, man. You are a sick man.
I don't know if they'll get the part. Pratt again can't hit the free throw. So it looks like the Jayhawks are going to go to 19-1, 7-0 in the Big 8, halfway through 7-0.
And have won at some pretty tough places already.
Turned over. Shelby Walton. Going to the basket strong is Pratt again and again. He draws the contact and will go back to the line.
Well, he'll clear some space going to the basket.
Foul on Pollard, his 4th. Now Robertson. He must have been nicked by an elbow. He comes over to the bench. He's bleeding a little bit.
Well, he's taken a lot of shots this year. I think this is his 2nd trip for the stitches, if that's going to need it.
Well, he's already heading to the locker room. Pollard picks up the 4th. Robertson, you couldn't see him on camera, but he's already out that tunnel and heading to the locker room.
Well, he can't figure out how that he's got 2 cuts already, and Jared Hass hasn't had any yet this year. I mean, look at the way these guys play. Jared Hass ought to be bruises from head to toe every time.
Pratt now 4 of 9 from the line. The chant goes up from the sold-out crowd here. Missed free throw, but the rebound comes to Walton. Good pass inside. Willoughby fouled hard by Jared Hass, and now he'll go to the line.
Well, Iowa State has been known over the years for their ability to spread you out on the floor and then cut to the basket. Watch here, Iowa State's got the floor spread. Can't spit that out, but Willoughby gets the pick up at the top and cuts to the basket. Nobody in the lane because everybody's spread out.
Now a 22nd timeout being taken by Coach Williams. Now let's check how things are going on in Manhattan and Columbia while we have just a moment. Colorado, 1-point lead. 1:50 left in that contest in Manhattan. And Missouri continues to lead Nebraska. 77-59. Missouri KU this Saturday. And for Iowa State, they'll take on the Cornhuskers. Jayhawks will be traveling to Columbia on Saturday afternoon. Again, the Jayhawks looking like they're going for their 12th straight. Looks like they have it here tonight. Don't forget, Missouri, they are so far unbeaten at home at the Hearn Center this year. Now Kansas State with 34 seconds to go, we understand. The Wildcats leading Colorado 57-54.
Be a big win for Ricardo Patton.
Be a big win for Tom Asbury. Chance for Kansas State to go to 6-3 in the conference, and they, like Iowa State, who'd have thunk it? Coming into this season, those two teams in the upper half of the bracket.
Whoa.
Moderman saved it, but saved it to LaFrance. Now Haas. This is a game of who's got it, I don't want it. Wow. Right to the final minute, though, these guys are all over the joint, fighting for that loose ball. Well, you hear a loud cheer going up. There can only mean one thing at this stage of the game. The Watley watch is over. D. Ransom, T.J. Watley, C.B. McGrath checking in. Kansas with their 26th home victory at Allen Fieldhouse in a row. Wow.
They got it going again. I'll tell you what, nothing but good things to come in the future for this team also. Boy, Big 8 coaches can't be happy playing this Kansas team, getting beat by this Kansas team, and then looking at the roster and saying, we got to see these same guys next year.
Everybody except Pearson and Rayford and T.J. Watley. Well, Prince will check out. Big game for him against his home state Cyclones.
Well, you knew he was going to come out fired up for Iowa State this year. He struggled a little bit last year. He's got one more date ready to go, and that's back to Hilton Coliseum.
And he's got that date circled on his calendar, February 17th. Well, France finished tonight with 17 points, 10 rebounds. Pratt, no. Who's got it in the corner? Willoughby tries another three. Shot put up and in by Tyler Peterson, a freshman out of Washington, Iowa. Under a minute to go. Watley lost the handle. It rolls out of bounds to Iowa State. Well, Kansas certainly won't be hurting the rankings. Number 3 in the country right now and going to 19-1. Wow. Out of bounds to Kansas. Now they can just run out the clock. In Manhattan, Chris. Kansas State and Colorado have gone to overtime, tied at 57. Rayford getting up slowly. You gotta be careful. Remember that serious knee injury that cost him all last season.
A lot of concern immediately. The whole Kansas bench up and see him going down. Oh, fell on his right leg there. It twisted it underneath him. Probably more scared than anything.
Yep. He walked over to the bench under his own power.
You know, he came back so quick from that. They talked about the amazing flexibility of him. Really helped him out as far as able to come back from that injury.
How about that? Ransom.
That's his first 3 of the year. 1 for 2 now, so he's getting close to Rafe stats.
Willoughby, will he fire one at the buzzer? It won't count. So the streak continues where Kansas dominates Iowa State here at Allen Fieldhouse. The Jayhawks have now won 14 straight over the Cyclones here in Lawrence. The last time Iowa State won here was 82, and most of the time the point spread has been wide. Williams looking for Coach Floyd. I think he's already headed off, disappointed his team couldn't handle the highly touted Jayhawks tonight, who win it 89-70. There he is. Coach Floyd did hang around. He was caught in traffic over there.
Coach Williams really likes to get hold of all the players and shake their hands. And Tim Floyd, obviously, Coach Williams telling him what a great job he's done with this program. I don't care what the final score is here tonight. Only 19-point loss, but it's a heck of a team he's got that he's put together.
You know what's more important, I think, for the Cyclones, Chris, is Saturday's game against Nebraska. Aren't going to be many teams, if any, that come in here and win. So this is one where you really can't lose. If you win one, it's just a great upset for your team. But Saturday, when they go back home to face Nebraska, that's a game the Cyclones have to have.
That's definitely a huge game for them this weekend.
Mark, let's get your perspective on things here tonight.
Well, you know, I know Kansas has this incredible win-loss record, but I think Kansas has improved itself from the beginning of the season. I thought the Jayhawks were obviously very good at the beginning of the season, but now they really seem to be moving the ball around the perimeter and shooting the ball well from the perimeter as they did tonight. In the first 5 minutes of the game, they shot 57%, a sign that the Kansas Jayhawks are at least starting the game better and thus playing better along the way. Dave, that's my thoughts for the game. Kansas looks very good right now.
Boy, don't they ever, winning this one in a semi-rout, 89-70. We'll come back and wrap it up in the Big 8 Conference. Don't forget our next game here on the Jayhawk Television.